Hello and welcome to Reception's Autumn Curriculum Meeting for 2025 to 2026. Here we will give you some brief details about reception and about the expectations and things that will happen at Hill Morton Primary. If there are any questions, please do message us afterwards with regards to it through Dojo or speak to us at the door. And also you can also pause throughout the video once we have recorded it.
So we just have some key dates for your diaries. The first one is a come and share session where you get to come into the classroom and talk to Miss Wheeler and I, see all the work that we've been getting on and just get to know the children in their provision. That's happening on Wednesday the 15th of October at 3:30 until 4 o'clock. We have the autumn reports coming out on Friday the 17th of October, and then following that we'll have Parents' Evening Week starting Monday the 20th of October. October half term, so the autumn 1 term finishes on Thursday the 23rd of October, and half term will begin on Friday the 24th of October, ending on the 3rd of November. So the Monday will be a teacher training day, and the children will return to school on Tuesday the 4th of November. We do have the reception Christmas performance, but the date will be announced a little bit later on. And then the Christmas holiday break will be Friday the 19th of December, lasting for 2 weeks, and returning on Tuesday the 6th of January.
Okay, so we're going to start with communication. As you know, we're at the door every morning and every afternoon. There will be odd afternoons and odd mornings where we won't be in, and that may be because we're having PPA or ECT time or assistant head time. However, most of the time it will be myself or Miss Cook at the door. Our main way of communication is, like I said, at the door, but we also have Class Dojo, which we've been using for many years now. So at Hill Morton, we are very good with having that communication between parents and teachers. It's a way of showing where our merits are, sharing things that children have been learning in class or in PE, in their outdoor learning, celebrations of Star of the Week and Star Writer. We also have link books. They will have come home already where you have thankfully filled in the information. We also have Merits and Super Speller Awards. So these will be towards the end of the week. We tend to have a celebration assembly yet. It will be by the end of the year to go into year 1. And we also have a take-home teddy. So we have Fred the Ted home, and it's where you just get to share your experiences with the Ted and with Fred the Ted and with Parker Bear.
Joe, we will be posting announcements on there which you've seen already over the last week or so. Any updates or reminders will also go on there. We will try to share, but we will do as many as we can. We can send private messages to you to keep you in the loop, which both myself and Miss Wheeler have already done. Dojo points. You can also like and comment on the class photos, you can leave feedback, you can message us, so it's a very interactive resource for us to use.
Only your child's class can see your child's pictures, can see things that are happening within your class. It's not across your photo opportunity photos on there, then they won't be, but they also won't be on any other form of social media, or newsletters or learning letters either. It's where we get to share, like we said, Star of the Week, Star Writer, any celebrations, and it's also where we get to showcase some of your learning. And like we said before, you get to be able to see that and get to like, message, and share with other parents in the class.
So make sure that you've checked your emails, you've received the link, you're connected, and you're part of our classroom so that you can see all the updates.
So, some key information. I'm not going to read through it all, as you are aware of a couple of members of staff already. So, we've got the reception teachers, which is myself, Miss Wheeler and Miss Cook. We will always be at the door at 8:50 and 3:30, and if we are not, we will have other members of staff who will be there, who I'll go through shortly. We are always there, like we said, to talk on the door, and we will always try and be supportive and helpful at the time. It might be that we need to come back to you with information or any support. You can message us on Dojo if you want to, and if it's an urgent message during the day, please contact the school office, who will then bring the message down to us, as during the day Dojo will not be accessed or used communication wise by myself or Miss Cook, because we will be with your children. We also have our TAs and support staff in the class. We have Mrs. Mossagini, we have Mrs. Guernsey, we have Miss Smith, and we have Miss Kazim, and they will be supporting your children within their learning outside and inside during the school day. On Tuesday morning, we have our pupil planning preparation assessment time. Mrs. Firkins will be covering, and Miss Webster, and they will be teaching across either PE or taking your child to the library, which we'll talk about later on. We try to keep the same adults and consistency so that your children feel safe and that they've got adults that they can go to throughout the day, rather than it being different adults to make them feel uneasy. Could you please ensure that you have your child's PE kit in? Like we said before, PE is going to be on Tuesday morning, so we need to make sure that the children have their PE kit, which is a white t-shirt and black shorts. There's no need for trainers or pumps at the moment, as we'll be inside in the hall for most of our PE lessons. Children have a choice of fruit throughout the week, so we get given fruit and children are able to independently choose whether they would like a piece or not. If they don't choose to have one, that is up to them. We don't tend to force, it's up to them. We also have, you can have the choice of packed lunches or school dinners, which again we'll go through later on. And could you please make sure that your child has a labelled bottle of water or a bottle that they recognise, so that throughout the day they can keep themselves hydrated. We are encouraging independence and encouraging confidence, so we have got a self-register every morning for children where they take their name with their little picture on, or their stars, and they pop it on their lunch menu of what they would like for the day. So we obviously have several options. Please, if you could go through the options either the night before or that morning with your child, so that it gives them a little bit more chance and opportunity to decide and find the picture in the morning, because we also go through it with the register in the morning, so that they are saying it verbally as well, and it can feel quite overwhelming when they are having to think about it. So if it's something they've discussed previously, it can make them feel a little bit better. If you could also make sure that you've filled in all your data collection sheets and the photo permissions in your link book, like we mentioned earlier, that would be fantastic. It then just means that we can obviously take photographs of your child in class, and they can be shared throughout either the school or through the newsletters. And please ensure your clothes are labelled. That is not just PE kit, that would be school clothes as well, as sometimes it is a struggle to find jumpers and cardigans times 30 or times 60 with who they are supposed to go to. So if you could just make sure all items of your children's are labelled, that would be fantastic.
So next week we will be starting the reception baseline assessments. It's nothing to worry about. It may sound scary with the word assessment, but it's really not. It's just for us to be able to see where your child is currently at the start of reception, and then we can put the building blocks in place to get them ready to move through into the national curriculum. So it's just a short, interactive and practical assessment of your child's early literacy, communication, language and math skills when they begin school, and we'll use different materials to help them, and it is something which is statutory across all schools in the UK.
Okay, so we have got the Early Years Foundation Stage curriculum, and as you can see we have got several sections, which is what we focus on throughout the year, both indoors and outdoors. We've got communication and language development, physical development, mathematics, expressive arts and design, understanding the world, literacy development, and one that we find specifically important, and the one that we like to focus on a lot, is personal, social and emotional development. Throughout these in our early excellence classrooms, as well as throughout the early years stage classrooms, we like to make sure that your children is getting the best out of their learning, and they are getting to learn through play, which is why we have got our learning in the provision, where children get to independently choose activities that they can use throughout the classroom, indoors and outdoors, to encourage independence and encourage play, communication and physical development.
So Little Wandle is the resource that we use in school to help the phonics. You'll receive the sound bags when we start our phonics. So each day or each week we send home a sound that we're focusing on. This could be starting off with the simple sounds, so like our lowercase sounds of S instead of S, at instead of A, T instead of T, and we just blend up that way. So please keep your eye out for those sound bags.
Reading at Hill Morton is very, very important to us. It's one of our things that we pride ourselves on. We have got a huge selection of books in classrooms, but also in our school library. So each week your child in the next couple of weeks will be coming home with a book, and if they say it's from the library, it will be from our school library. It is based on what a book that they have chosen. We do try to encourage age appropriate for them, rather than going for books that are a little bit like chapter books too soon. We go for picture books, books that are simple to read, but books that they could also read with yourselves. They can be changed every week, so it'll be on a Tuesday hopefully. So if you could make sure that your child's book is in on a Tuesday, and they can get changed each week.
So our first topic for the Autumn 1 term is called Here I Am, and we're focusing on the Everywhere Bear. We're looking at exploring feelings, using feelings of characters in the book. We're going to listen to longer stories. We're going to start to articulate some of our ideas. It's getting to know the child as a whole and as an individual, and exploring our differences or our similarities and what makes us us. We'll be having a big focus on using one-handed tools and equipment, so things like using the scissors, holding our pencil with a tripod grip. We'll be looking at beginning and belonging, and having that sense of community within our classroom.
Okay, then we also obviously have our literacy, mathematics, understanding the world, and expressive arts. I won't go through each of them, however, you can obviously pause the video to have a look through them. But we will be encouraging and starting our literacy skills with phonics, as well as learning how to do letter formation. With maths, we'll be looking at pattern and number, and numbers specifically to 5, and then up to 6. Understanding the world will be across history, RE, geography and science, and we'll be using lots of different learning and provision across those. And we also have lots of art where we'll be doing painting, collage, and using different things to link to us and what makes us happy and what represents us as a person.
And then as we go into Autumn 2, so after the October half term, it will turn into Let's Celebrate, which of course is very much a celebratory topic. We will also be focusing on Blue Penguin. It's a bit more of a wintry book, so it fits into the seasons for that time of year. We will be looking at exploring the theme of making friends, listening to longer stories again, and remembering as much as we can of what's going to happen, and still focusing on some of those fine motor skills just to really strengthen up our ability to hold the pencil and to write as we develop our writing skills later on.
And again, we've got literacy, maths, understanding the world, and expressive arts and designs for our second term. And again, we'll be encouraging children to use the tripod grip and write simple words. It could be that we're also using our letter formation to ensure that we're using those correctly. Reading a lot of lovely stories, including our Blue Penguin, which will be our Power of Reading text for the focus. For maths, we'll be starting to look at addition and thinking of ways and using manipulatives, so using cubes, using bears, different things to help us work out how to add and how to take away. We'll be finding and exploring ways to measure and looking at shapes. In Understanding the World, again, we've got history, geography and science, and we'll be doing lots of things that are wintry themed around roasting marshmallows and get it going on an autumn walk to see about the seasonal changes and learning about the seasons. In arts, we've got a focus on certain artists, and we'll be hopefully using some watercolour paper and watercolour paint, and then using different materials to create different scenes for Antarctica.
So our maths resource that we use in school is Math Mastery. It's something that will be continuous from reception right the way through to year 6. So it will never change unless the school decides to change it, but I can guarantee you it probably will not change. It's a very nice and easy way for us to conduct our maths lessons. It includes our maths manipulatives, and it's a very interactive scheme for us to use. So that is our focus for maths.
In a maths lesson, we have a 6-part lesson. So previously across schools, it would be a 3-part lesson. We now have 6. So we have a small do now, which is a quick task, 5 minutes, where children do something that they've previously learnt. So it could just be collecting 5 items. It could be just collecting 1. It could be using numbers on their hands. Something so simple and something that they've already previously learnt. Then we have the new learning, which is the introduction to something new. So it could be focusing, like we said, on the numbers to 5, numbers to 6, could be shape, and then also looking at various different patterns. Then the talk task is where the children go off in their groups or in their partners, and it's where they get the opportunity to explore that new learning that they've just been taught and get to practice it themselves. The developed learning is then where they get to go a little bit further on and they get to carry on doing that learning and then the independent task is where they have a go on their own. If there are any obstacles or anything that they have been misconceptions, myself and Miss Cook and the support staff will make sure that we are covering those in the class, and if not, through another lesson. The plenary is obviously where we get to see whether the children have understood it, and we get to check that for a personal assessment for the next lesson to then move on to the next part of our maths.
Okay, so we will be starting to look at setting a little bit of homework. This will be looking at phonics, it will be in maths, it might be part of our topic. So keep your eye out for those 3 key features in our homework tasks.
These are also where you can choose them, so it's a sort of optional choice. So if you want to choose a reading one week, a maths one the next week, and the topic, so it's kind of a bit optional for yourselves, and the children get to choose. So we are really looking forward to this year. We are all fresh-faced children coming in, hopefully ready to learn, ready to play and ready to grow together. We are very excited, very enthusiastic bunch down here, and we're excited to see your children grow and learn. And if there's anything that we can do to support your child and yourself for them to feel safe and feel happy in school, please do get in touch. But keep calm, and here's to a great year.